She met me at the door like I'd been gone a year, not 3 weeks. Arms tight, voice honeyed. The kitchen already warm with roasted chicken and rosemary. "You're home," Lauren said, tugging my bag off my shoulder like it weighed nothing. I cleared my afternoon. "You get me all night." I laughed, set the duffel by the bench. "All night? I'm not 20. "You're mine," she teased, rubbing my neck with both thumbs. "Shower, then dinner, then the couch, then we'll see." I didn't look for trouble. The house smelled like comfort. She plated food before I could wash my hands and kept touching me, hand to my shoulder, fingers on my sleeve. She laughed at jokes that weren't funny and asked about every airport. It felt like a welcome home commercial. I ate it. I let myself believe it. If I'd known where that sweetness was headed, I'd have turned off the oven and driven back to the hotel. The second week told the truth. It didn't shout. It bled out in little cuts. She forgot to answer when I checked in from the site, then sent a text 2 hours later. "Sorry, crashed early." She started taking her phone to the bathroom. She went to bed before me without asking if I was coming. She cinched a distance between us and covered it with busy and tired. At breakfast on day 10, I slid a mug across the counter. "You're running cold," I said. "If it's stress, say stress. If it's me, say me." She didn't look up from the calendar on her tablet. "I told you. I'm exhausted. This quarter is insane." "You ran hot when I walked in," I replied. "This is different." Lauren shut the tablet and crossed her arms like she was hugging herself. "You come home wired like a hummingbird. I can't match your pace every time." "I'm not asking for a parade," I said. "I'm asking for basic attention." She let out a tiny laugh that wasn't humor. "Basic attention? You mean like texting on your schedule?" "I mean when I call at 7, pick up at 7:30 if you can. Not the next morning." She rinsed an empty cup, noise louder than it had to be. "So now we're clocking each other." "No," I said. "We're respecting each other's time. If you're busy, I'll spend my time elsewhere. You're not my only appointment." She flinched, then recovered. "That's nice. I'm free Thursday," I added, checking my phone. "If you're buried, I'll grab dinner with Mike after the gym." Her eyebrow ticked. "Mike from your crew?" "Yeah." He texts back. "Cute. Honest," I said, and took my coffee to the porch. That Thursday, I put my plan in place. I didn't beg for her slot. I told her I'd be late, moved our shared card off 3 auto pays I'd been covering solo, and set my gym class on date night. When she texted at 9, "Want to watch something?" I answered at 10:30, "Home late. Don't wait up." It wasn't spite. It was balance. If she wanted to downgrade our priority, I could match settings without a speech. The next morning, she slid a plate of eggs toward me. "You were out late," she said. "Had legs to burn and a beer with Mike." She twirled a fork. "So we just do our own thing now." "We do our own thing when one of us says they're too busy," I said. "You're busy." She pursed her lips. "You're punishing me. Or learning your pace." She smiled thinly. "You're not as laid back as you think." "I'm as laid back as respect allows," I said. She shook her head and tried a different angle. "I'm making your favorite for dinner. Let's not keep score." "I'm not," I told her. 7 o'clock. If you're running late, shoot a text. If I'm running late, I'll do the same. She nodded like this was a corporate meeting she needed to get out of. Sure. Saturday night, we were at a neighbor's cookout. Paper plates, folding chairs, kids kicking a ball over azaleas. Lauren drifted to a circle of women. I found Mark from 2 doors down, a landscaper with forearms like baseball bats. Mark bumped my shoulder. "How's the road?" "Same hotel lamp, different carpet." He snorted. "And the home office." I jerked my chin toward Lauren. She was smiling at a woman I didn't know, but her eyes were on me, gauging. When I caught her staring, she tilted her head and kept smiling, then turned back to her circle. Lauren called out across the grass, loud enough for the row of chairs. "Don't let him tell you he's eating vegetables out there. He treats airports like buffets." Heads turned. A few chuckled. A harmless jab, sure, but the timing and volume were a message. I took a sip of soda. "She likes to think she runs my diet," I said, voice steady. "She doesn't." Mark raised his brows like, "You good?" "I'm good," I told him. On the way home, Lauren buckled in and stared out the windshield. "You just had to clap back." "I just had to set a boundary," I replied. "You took a shot in public." I returned it, light. "We can keep it sweet or keep it even. Your call." "God," You're dramatic. No, I said. I'm clear. She didn't speak again until we pulled into the driveway. Inside, she shut herself in the bathroom with her phone for 15 minutes. I loaded the dishwasher and watched the clock once, then never again. The next morning, she tried a softer approach. Pancakes, real butter, berries on the side. I was snappy last night, she said, not quite looking at me. It wasn't fair. That's closer to honest, I answered, pouring coffee. Thank you. We good? We're fine, I said. I'm wheels up again Monday. I'll be out 2 weeks, then back 5 days. She pecked my cheek. Text me your flight. I'll pick you up. Text me back when I text you. I said, and that was the whole contract. Sunday night, she dressed to kill for a mid-range Italian place and looped her arm through mine like the first year. She kept the phone down, asked about my team, laughed at my story about the hotel elevator that opened onto a storage closet. The server, a kid with a man bun and too many tables, dropped an extra bowl of bread. Lauren leaned in. Let's reset, she said quietly. Clean slate. I'm always open to plain talk, I replied. She nodded and brushed my hand. I let my shoulders unlock a notch. Maybe I'd been too rigid. Maybe the quarter was crushing her. The bill came. She grabbed it fast. I've got this. You don't have to. I want to, she said, flipping her card before I could blink. We walked out under soft streetlights. She squeezed my arm. Thanks for not pushing. Thanks for showing up, I said. I almost let myself believe that was the turn. Then my phone buzzed in the parking lot. Unknown number. I want a date with you. You free tonight? I stared. I didn't reply. We drove home, Lauren humming to some playlist. In the living room, she hugged me long and went to shower. My phone buzzed again. Hello, you there? I typed. Emily, you texted the wrong guy. I'm married to your friend. A minute later, LOL. And that didn't stop her from seeing my boyfriend. I sat down. The couch felt made of stone. I called. She picked up on the first ring. Her voice was steady. I wish this were a mistake. It isn't. If you want details, meet me for dinner tonight. Somewhere public. I'll show you what I've got. I looked down the hall to the bathroom, steam under the door. Where? We picked a steakhouse near the highway. I booked a table from my phone. When I told Lauren I had to meet Mike about an early morning call, she glanced at the clock. On a Sunday? He's free now, I said. And I want to sleep at midnight, not 1. She shrugged. Bring him a salad. I got to the restaurant 10 minutes early. Emily was already there, hands clasped around a water glass, hair pulled into a neat ponytail like she was going into a deposition she didn't want. She looked up when I approached. Aaron, she said, standing. Emily, I answered. Now explain. All of it. She opened a manila folder and pulled out photos one by one. Not dramatic, just methodical. Sidewalk angles. A familiar jacket. The back of Lauren's head. A car I'd serviced myself, parked where I'd never seen it. Timestamps. Dates that lined up with my trips. Then a report, columns, addresses, summaries. She slid her phone across the table. Videos, short, from a private investigator, the angle from across the street. No commentary. No guesses. Just facts. I didn't look away or ask for pauses. I took it in like a foreman taking bad inventory. Numbers, not poetry. Patterns, not what-ifs. Emily rested her forearms on the table. She did it while you were gone, she said flat. I wanted to be wrong. I paid hoping for nothing. I got this. Your guy? I asked, how long did he watch? 3 weeks, she said. He's on contract for another week if you want more. I've got enough, I said. She swallowed. You okay? No, I answered and didn't raise my voice. But I'm useful. She nodded, like she'd expected that line from me. I'll send everything. Originals. He'll send the full log. I'll need it, I said. And Emily, thank you for being direct. She reached across the table, set her hand on mine for one beat, then lifted it like she'd touched a hot plate and remembered. I'm sorry, she said. I wish we were two idiots laughing about a wrong number. We're two adults dealing with truth, I told her. That's cleaner. We talked through the timeline. She asked if I had a lawyer. I said I'd have one in 10 hours. I paid. She tried to argue the bill. I shook my head and stood. I drove her home because she was shaking and pretending not to. At her curb, she looked at me, eyes red but dry. If you need to vent or not talk, text me, she said. This situation joined us, whether we like it or not. I gave a quick half smile. You're decent, Emily. That's rare. Back home, Lauren was asleep already, face down, an arm across my pillow. I didn't move it. I took the couch without ceremony. At 6, I left for my lawyer. Before sunrise, I'd pulled my personal essentials into my truck. Not secret, not theatrical. I loaded my passport, birth certificate, a few clothes, the laptop I bought with my own money. I left the wedding album. That belonged to a version of me who hadn't read a report in a steakhouse. My attorney, a gray-haired woman named Alvarez, met me with a yellow pad. Do not confront her, she said after skimming the folder. Do not telegraph your move. We'll prep documents. You'll sign before your next trip. Serve when you're ready. Until then, keep a straight face and live like normal. No speeches. No threats. I can do straight face, I told her. Good, Alvarez said. And stop paying for anything not legally required. Keep receipts for what you do cover. Stay off shared devices. I slid her the folder. Emily will email the originals. I'll be watching, she said. Go to work. Leave like usual. Don't tip your hand. I left the office calm. I was done asks and guesses. I had a schedule. The plane took off that afternoon for Phoenix. I didn't text Lauren from the gate. I didn't tell her my seat number, didn't snap a photo of the wing against clouds. I put my phone in my bag and read a vendor spec sheet twice because my brain needed a task it could finish. We got to the site, a concrete skeleton under desert sun. Dan, my field lead, squinted at me over a stack of RFQs. You look blank, he said. Trying a new sport, I said. It's called silence. Good sport, he replied. Low injury. Nights in the hotel used to be Lauren and me on FaceTime. Lazy routine, dumb jokes, the ceiling fan above our bed spinning while she talked about a dog she wanted. This time, nothing. No good night. No are you eating. The first 3 days, I waited for a ping. The next 3, I didn't. On day 4, my voicemail lit up with a single minute from her. Voice syrupy, too sweet by half. I miss you. I'm sorry I've been tired. Work's insane. I adore you. Old me would have cracked like a cheap road cone. I listened, hit delete, and answered a procurement email. Emily, on the other hand, checked in like a human. Not pushy. You good? Need anything? I'm sending the drive. We found an easy rhythm. We didn't talk about Lauren unless it made practical sense. Mostly, we talked about nothing. Bad lobby coffee, her neighbor's leaf blower war, my habit of folding hotel towels in quarters like a weirdo. It wasn't flirtatious at first, just clean. On Friday she wrote, you have 5 days in town when you get back. Survive them. Then dinner's on me. I typed, I owe you 10 dinners for the folder. She replied, I'll settle for 2. 3 if dessert counts. I answered, I'll bankrupt myself. She sent back a smile I could hear in text. Don't tease. I'm counting. Work wrapped early on the last day. I rebooked my flight to get in a few hours sooner. Alvarez texted, ready. Come by before you go home. I landed, grabbed my truck, and drove straight to her office. I signed what needed signing. She put a packet in a plain envelope and said, breathe. Hand it over at a moment that suits you. Expect tears, bargaining, maybe fireworks. Say your piece once and leave. Copy, I said. At the house, Lauren had staged another commercial. Table set. Roast in the oven. Fresh flowers. She opened the door with a grin like we were back to year 1. There's my man, she sang. Long drive? Come sit. I made. Stop, I said, standing in the doorway. She blinked. What? I handed her the envelope. She took it, confused, and slid out the papers. Her face drained. She looked up at me like a kid who finally sees the fence they've been rattling. Why? She whispered, voice shaking. Because I'm done living in bad math, I told her. I know about the side meetings. I know when. I know where. I have names and dates. Her mouth worked. I met Emily, I went on. She paid to know the truth. Now we both do. You crossed the line while I was out building a life for us. You staged sweetness to keep the perks. It's over. I'm sorry, she said instantly, eyes wet. I was stupid. It was nothing. I didn't. You did. I cut in. Not once. Not by accident. This took planning. Please, Aaron. She stepped forward, reaching. I didn't move. We can fix it. Don't throw us away. I didn't throw anything, I said. I'm taking out the trash. She broke then, and it wasn't pretty. Tears. knees bending like she'd sit on the floor and beg. Give me a chance. I'll cut him off. I'll change my number. I'll pack, I said. You have 2 hours to take what's yours. Anything you miss, we'll schedule a pickup next week. I'm eating elsewhere. She stared like she'd misheard. 2 hours. 60 before I call a truck, I said calmly. I'm not your warden. I'm your past. Keep it graceful. Don't make it worse. She swallowed a sob and nodded. Please don't tell anyone, she whispered. Please. I'm not in the business of announcements, I said, turning for the door. But you'll feel the silence. That's worse. She lunged a half step. Aaron, I looked back once. Respect is the minimum. You're in a deficit. The account's closed. I left her there, papers in hand, food cooling on the table. In the truck, I dialed Emily. If I remember right, I said when she picked up, I owe you 10 dinners. I'm ready to start paying tonight. How fast can you be ready? A squeal, not loud but bright. 20 minutes, and I'm yours. 10, I told her. I'm on your street. I parked outside her building and watched the door. She came out in a simple dress like she hadn't planned for fireworks, just a night. When she slid into the passenger seat, she hugged me like we were both climbing out of a wreck and had found ground. I held on a second, then I put the truck in gear. At the restaurant, the host tried to offer us a quiet corner. Emily shook her head. Booth by the window, she said. I want light. We ordered too much. We talked about everything that wasn't my marriage. She asked once, gently, why are you here with me and not there? I didn't dodge. Because I gave someone more chances than she deserved, I said. I'm done counting. Emily's eyes warmed. She covered her mouth for a second like she might cry for me. Then she laughed, a burst she didn't see coming, and said too loud for the room. Finally. Heads turned. She flushed and clapped a hand over her lips. I'm sorry. No, I said. Right volume. My phone vibrated every 10 minutes with Lauren's name. Calls. Texts. Please. Come home. I'm outside. I'll explain. I set the phone face down and poured Emily more water. Do you need to? She started. No, I said. I'm done with speeches. We didn't notice the hour. Midnight slid to 2. Emily yawned and leaned her shoulder into mine like it had always been there. When we stood, she touched my forearm. Don't go back to that house tonight, she said. Stay at my place. Couch, bed, floor. I don't care. You're not sleeping near that mess. I wasn't planning to, I said. After that night, we didn't really come apart. I kept my mornings tight. Gym, job site, briefing. She kept her days honest. Work, errands, a check-in that took 30 seconds and meant something. Lauren texted every day, sometimes 10 times in a row, then an apology, then a promise, then a memory. I didn't answer once. Alvarez handled logistics. A week later, Emily moved a few boxes from her small apartment into my place because I put the offer on the table without drama. There's a room with good light. Bring your plants. She did. That 5-day window between trips felt like another life crashing into this one. On day 2, I stopped by the garage where I keep my truck tuned. Ramon, the owner, wiped his hands on a rag. Heard you're back, he said. How's home? Temporary storage, I said. You need a new set of tires for that road. Working on it. I tipped my head toward Emily in the passenger seat, flipping through a hardware receipt. Meet my sanity. Ramon grinned. She smiles with her eyes. That's a keeper. Don't jinx me, I said, but my mouth gave me away. I saw Lauren once from a distance, 2 blocks over, outside a coffee shop, talking fast into her phone, scanning cars like the street owed her an audience. I didn't slow. I owed no performance. When the day came for her to pick up the last of her things, Alvarez suggested a third party and a set time. I agreed. Mark from down the street stood in the foyer because he's neutral and large. Lauren walked in with a tote and a tissue. She tried the soft approach first. Can we talk alone? She asked. No, I replied. She dabbed at nothing. I've been seeing a counselor. Good, I said. They'll help you break habits. I miss you, she whispered. You miss the budget, the shield, the easy life, I said. You don't miss me. She pushed out a breath. You're cruel. I'm accurate, I answered. She packed the tote with framed photos, sweaters I'd bought on trips, a blanket from last Christmas. She kept glancing at me like I'd call off the game. I stood with my hands in my pockets and didn't fill the silence. When she left, she turned once on the porch. Please don't tell people why, she said. People can handle their own guesses, I said. I'm not your PR. Her mouth tightened. She went to her car. Mark closed the door. He didn't say sorry. He said, "Want a beer?" "I've got a dinner," I told him. The new rhythm settled fast because I made it simple. I kept the house. I changed the locks. I reworked who I help and how. And if someone didn't like the new system, it was their cue to leave. Emily and I found a lane that wasn't sugar, actual kindness, no performances. She poked fun at my habit of organizing the tool bench by socket size. I ribbed her for naming her plants. A month later, the job sent me to Denver for a week. I asked Emily if she wanted the truck for errands. She said, "Take it. I'll use my car." When I got back, the yard looked cleaner than it ever had because she'd hired a kid from the next street to mow and edge and refused to take my cash. "You cover roofs," she said. "I cover edges." I got a promotion 3 months after the papers were finalized. The company offered me a project portfolio I'd been angling for. I upgraded the truck because I could and because machines mind their own business. Weekends, we drove to the lake with coffee and thermoses and let the sun do its job. We laughed because nothing was complicated. We made a life that used to feel heavy feel light without pretending it took no work. Occasionally, I'd hear from someone who ran into Lauren. "She looks tired," a neighbor said once. "Moved into a little place near the mall." I nodded. I didn't say a word about anything. The silence did what the speeches never could. When Emily teased me about those 10 dinners, I kept paying. I learned the names of her friends who didn't try to run her life. She met Mike, who said, "You're the reason he's not a caveman again." She met Ramon, who knocked $50 off an oil change and winked. She fit. The last time Lauren tried to get through, it was a short message. "You replaced me fast." I didn't reply. Replacement wasn't the word. I reset my standards, then chose a woman who met them without a script. I used to think the worst part of losing respect is the drop. 1 second you're steady, the next you're on your back wondering what hit you. That's not it. The worst part is realizing you saw the signs and tried to bargain with them. You told yourself the phone in the bathroom is nothing, the missing calls are nothing, the joke at the cookout is nothing. Then a folder hits a table, and nothing becomes everything. In the end, I didn't scream. I didn't break a glass or burn a photo. I gave a deadline, I kept my word, and I walked. Lauren lost what she was really guarding: comfort and the illusion that she could set the terms. I kept what mattered: my time, my name, my calm. I promised Emily dinners. I'm still paying happily. The last night I think about, Emily and I sat on the tailgate in the driveway with takeout containers, listening to crickets like two old people who finally earned their porch. She nudged my shoulder. "You're quiet." "I'm inventorying," I said. "Good or bad?" "Profitable," I answered. She smiled sideways. "Say the thing you say when you're done with the job." I took a breath and looked at the house that was mine again. "Punch list complete," I said. Then I finished my food, tossed the fork, and didn't look back.